It's Remi the Forest!
Hello everyone, it's Remi here, and today I'm going to do the mid-year freak out book tag, or plainly just a tag because I'm going to talk about music, TV series, films I've watched, and of course, books. And what I've been up to recently, basically nothing, but getting bitten by my dog, so let's just get right into it, shall we? The first section I'm going to talk about is music, because I love listening to music. So far, I've discovered some songs I liked. Just only three. The first one is Two of Us by Louis Tomlinson. The second one is Me by Taylor Swift and Brandon Urie. Pre-order Tea at 7 Lover will be out on 23rd of August. The third one is Easier by 5 Seconds of Summer. In the next category, I want to tell you what I've read. Only books I liked. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Killing November by Adriana Mather. I listened to the audiobook. It was about 11 hours, I think, or 9. I don't really have a good memory, so the story itself was alright, kind of weird, but fun, I guess. But however, the what's it called? Yes, the narrator, Cassandra Morris, she was specific. But what am I talking about? Okay, she was just wonderful. Okay, I love how she can do a lot of different kind of voices, female voices, male voices, old people's voice, and like kids' voice. Like she's just awesome. I really like her narrating style. Next up is Leave No Choice. Next up is Leave No Choice. What? Next up is Leave No Choice. What? Oh my god. Next up is Leave No Troy. What? No, I cannot pronounce this word correctly. Okay, next up is Leave No Trace. Trace. T-R-A-C-E, trace. Next up is Leave No Trace. Trace. What is wrong with me? Next up is Leave No Trace by Mindy Major. So I've read the previous book. It's called Everything You Want Me to Be, or somebody know this book as The Last Act of Haley Hoffman. I like that book a lot better than this one, Leave No Trace. Leave No Trace is just, I don't know, it's just kind of like flat. But her previous work was very 3D, if you know what I mean, because I don't even know what I'm talking about. Next book is An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. It's by the authors of The Wife Between Us. The Wife Between Us gave me a shocking plot twist. Like, what was that? What just happened? But this one, An Anonymous Girl, I would say just like a normal thriller. Next book is I'm Thinking of Indian Things by Ian Reid. It is said that next year it will be a Netflix film about this book, but I'm not sure. This book, I already know what's going on because some people told me about it, like the whole story, but I still read this book and I really enjoy reading it because I like the creepy atmosphere in this book. Just really good, and it was a short read, so if you want to try out this book, you should definitely do it. Next book I like is Him. Surprisingly, I know, by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bauman, because normally I do not read new adult romance. Him is a MM romance, and somehow I enjoy reading it, so who knows? Next book, my top favorite so far, is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. And yes, I bought this book back in 2017. Huh? Or was it 2018? I don't remember, but I bought this book like years back, and I feel like I should probably pick that. Pick. Am I like doing some kind of pick? Okay, I thought that maybe I should just pick up this book and read it, so I did it, and I liked it. Up to the next section. The next section is what I've been watching. So we're going to talk about films first. Which films I've been watching. I've watched the past 6 months. So I think the first one, because I cannot remember correctly, I'll do them chronologically. What am I talking? Chronicle as I'm just gonna tell you some films I've watched so far. Okay, so the first one is Blue Velvet. Is from 90s, I think, directed by David Lynch. The whole film was shot quite poetic, but I chose to watch this film because I enjoyed the Mulholland Drive. But in Blue Velvet, I didn't get the plot twist, just a strong plot twist. So it was alright, but not so good. But however, the song Blue Velvet, it was it was so dreamy. I love the song so much. The second film I'm telling you is 1408. It's a adaptation from Stephen King's novel 1408, but of course I haven't read it, and actually I haven't heard of it. Sorry about that. So it's kind of like a psychological horror story, and I didn't like it. I told myself that I wasn't gonna watch or read any Stephen King's novels because I had bad experience of them. Sorry about that for all of you Stephen King's fans, but his novel is just not my thing. It's not creepy or just not my taste, okay? But somehow I didn't know about it, and then I just clicked 1408, and then yeah. Next up is Jacob's Ladder. I think it was a film from 80s. I'm not sure. It was quite interesting because spoiler alert. The whole thing was just kind of like Jacob's hallucination right before he died. So, yeah. But like this kind of hallucination, I personally preferred Nightmare in Ghostland. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna put the poster here. I'm not sure about the title. Poster. Okay. I think that film did better than Jacob's Ladder, but a lot of people really enjoy Jacob's Ladder. Me, just well, it's an 80s film, so okay. Next up is Inoperable. I think it was a film from 2017. I really liked it, even though I've heard a lot of negative reviews of it. But personally, I really enjoy watching this film because it got the horror and gore. Because personally, I love gore and blood and just everywhere, and the psychological twist, amazing, and the creepy setting. So I loved it. If you like the setting set in a creepy psychiatric hospital, you should definitely read this one. Watch this one. Next up is 47 Meters Down. It's a short film. And let's say that there'll be a sequel in August about that. Underwater, there's a big freaking maze, and in it, there's some deadly shark species in there. So I'll probably watch it. I'm not sure. Next up is Action Point. It's a film last year. It's a comedy film. It is based on the very notorious amusement park called Action Park in New Jersey, and it was quite funny, that film. I liked it. Next up is the film from this year, the new release film. The first one is Alita. I like the whole world building because you build up a post-apocalypse world, but I really don't like the relationship between Alita and her little boyfriend. It just no. But the other things, the other part, and even the villain. Next up is Happy Death Day to You. It's a sequel of Happy Death Day, and I loved the first one, and the second one I liked it even more, like this franchise even more, because it explained the whole thing is actually kind of sci-fi, because when you watch the first one, you'll be like, oh, so it's kind of like supernatural. But when you watch the sequel, you'll be like, oh, it's actually a sci-fi, it's a time loop, a time travel loop. Like, what is going on? It's really good. I loved it. Next up, I also watched Lifelike. You have a human robot, but personally, I don't recommend it. I don't like it. I'm going to tell you what's going on, so mute. Okay, so what's going on basically is that a married couple, they bought a lifelike robot, a human robot called Henry, but in the end they figure out that Henry is actually a real human who got kidnapped. I would say it was kidnapped when he was a baby or very little child, and then they brainwash him into like thinking himself as a robot, and he have to like do things for people and to obey them. So it's pretty sick. Not pretty sick, but it's like pretty sick, you know. Okay, so now unmute it. Okay, next film I watched isn't it romantic? Starring Rebel Wilson, Nick Jonas' wife, what's her name? Priyanka Chopra, and it was and of course Chris Hemsworth and the guy, main love interest. I like that film. I mean, it was interesting and without heartbreaking moments. It's just very lovely and give you like good spirits. Next film I really liked is an animation. It's Queen's Corgi. It's a lovely film. Feature Donald Trump and Melania Trump and their fake, very ugly corgi. Like, it's so fun. I love it. Next up is The Perfection. It's a Netflix original film. Some people think that it is very not gruesome, but very disgusting because it has like a lot of worm, a scene with a lot of worm, kind of like negative, I would say. Personally, I like the first part better, but the second part, I don't really feel like it. But the whole film is quite, not really like feminist, but like female standing up for themselves. Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about TV series I rewatched. So I rewatched 3 TV series: Silence, Friday Night Dinner, and The IT Crowd. The 3 are British sitcom, and I love them. And some TV show I've watched. I finished CSI New York. I'm still not finished CSI Miami. I was in season 7, I think. And I've watched Sex Education. I loved it. I cannot wait for season 2. It was great. I didn't expect it. I was like, Sex Education? What even is that title? But wow, it's brilliant. It's funny and it has a lot of elements. And I also watched Saturday Night Live, SNL, but not all of them because it's now like 44 seasons. I watched them selectively, and I also finished the whole 13 seasons of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. At first I was like, oh, this is so stupid. Like, why are those people so horrible? But then after getting into like a few episodes, I was like, oh my god, this is actually funny. So I like binge watching it like probably in 5 days. And next up, a new TV series, Chambers, a Netflix original TV series. Chambers is talking about a girl having heart transplant, but that heart is kind of like haunted. So she will have that kind of hallucination, or she can see the girl's heart, the previous girl's, that heart, like what she'd been through, and it's supernatural, very supernatural. Next up, I finally watched Queer Eye, but I have to say that it's not my TV series. I love those 5 guys, Fab 5, Jonathan, Tan, Anthony, Bobby, and Cromwell. Like, those 5 guys, they are fabulous, absolutely, and they seem like really nice people, but the makeover thing, this kind of reality show just isn't my thing. I'm more into catfish, seeing people being miserable and like losing hope. I'm more into those kind of things. So the happy thing, like, I'm just like, no. But in the show, I really appreciate what Bobby did, like he has to like design the house, and he's just awesome. Next up, I watched Elite. It's a Spanish Netflix original show, and I loved it. Okay, you can check out my Elite book tag. I'll put the link down below. Next up, I also watched season 3 of Slasher. The next TV series, of course, I watched this Society, starring Catherine Newton and other people. The Society, I would say that I will keep watching season 2 because I want to figure out what's going on with this town, Newham. But I didn't really like the whole plot because it's not bloody at all, but it's a torture to the heart. Like, you both kids, can't you just find a way to be, treat everyone well instead of trying to be the king, I don't know. So, this is all for my mid-year freaking cow book tag. Yes, and I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta!